It's that time of year again. It's GoPro rumor and leak season. There's a new GoPro Hero, presumably coming out this fall. It'll probably be called the GoPro Hero 10. That's not something anybody knows for sure yet. Well, except GoPro. But GoPro has stayed with the numbers for their naming convention. There's not reason to believe they won't call it the 10. So for the sake of this video, we're gonna call it the GoPro Hero 10. There are lots and lots of rumors and leaks swirling around out there. I've looked into a whole bunch of them, and in today's video, I'll be discussing the details, and I'll tell you what I expect the GoPro Hero 10 to look like. Let's talk first about when the GoPro Hero 10 is likely to be released. I would expect the GoPro Hero 10 to be released probably in late September or early October. GoPro has tended to stay on this timeline for several cycles now, and even last year during the pandemic and 2020 and all of the supply chain disruptions, GoPro did still have their camera released on time. Therefore, I would expect it to come out late September or early October once again this year. How much will the GoPro Hero 10 cost? If I had to guess, I would expect the cost to be right around $450. This would be similar to the cost of the GoPro Hero 9. The 9 cost right around $400 to $450 if you didn't bundle the GoPro Cloud subscription with it. If you bundled the subscription, the camera generally costs right around $350. What improvements and features will the GoPro Hero 10 offer? This is a particularly fun area for me to talk about. I like speculating what the new camera's gonna have, and it's fun to dream big and think, hey, what could GoPro put on this camera that makes it better than the 9? There are many improvements and features I would like to see, and I think some of them are realistic, and others are probably a bit of a dream right now, and I'm probably gonna have to wait a little bit longer. But at the same time, this is the GoPro Hero 10. That's a big deal. This is the 10th anniversary of GoPros, therefore I think it's reasonable to expect something big from GoPro. Plus, GoPro needs to have some wow factor with this camera. There are a lot of competitors that are getting better and better, and GoPro needs to remain relevant. So realistically, here's what I expect the GoPro Hero 10 to have. I do expect the GoPro Hero 10 to have the same sensor as the 9. The sensor in the Hero 9 was new to that camera, after the same sensor being in the Hero 6, 7, and 8. GoPro has a habit of sticking with the same sensor for about 3 years and getting all they can out of it before switching to a new sensor. So I don't expect GoPro to change up the sensor just yet. I think they're gonna get more performance out of this one, at least this time, and maybe with the next camera as well. Even though it's the same sensor, GoPro can still get more out of this sensor. The current sensor is the Sony IMX677, and if you look up this sensor does have the potential to offer quite a bit more than it currently is. However, in order to offer more from this sensor, GoPro would have to upgrade their processor. And I do expect GoPro to upgrade the processor in this camera. GoPro has been using the current GP1 processor since the Hero 7 Black. So that would represent 3 years with that same processor. And it really started to show with the 9. If you own the 9 or have used the 9, there was some lag there, especially if you were using the 5K modes. Things would get a little jumpy on that camera. If GoPro upgrades the processor to the GP2, here is what I would expect the GoPro Hero 10 to offer. First of all, I would expect 4K 120 frames per second. This would be a huge increase in the current highest 4K frame rate of 4K 60 frames per second. This would be a doubling of that and would make for some incredible fast action or slow motion footage. Now, I don't expect the 5K frame rates to be increased at all. I do expect 5K 30 frames per second to still remain the maximum. I don't think this current sensor, even with a new processor, could do 5K 60 frames. Something else I would expect if the processor's upgraded is an HDR video mode. The Hero 9 Black does have an HDR mode currently for photos, but not for videos. If the HDR video mode is offered, I would expect this to be offered all the way up to 4K 60 frames per second. I would not expect it to go higher than that due to the technical limitations that are involved in HDR video. HDR video does require quite a bit of processing power within the camera. GoPro is known for their great color science, so I would not be at all surprised if there is an HDR video mode. And that would be pretty exciting. That would take GoPro color to a whole new level. If GoPro does upgrade the processor in this camera, I would also expect better screen responsiveness. GoPro did recently release a firmware update that fixed a lot of the touchscreen issues. The screen does still look and feel a little bit laggy, especially when you're filming 5K video. A new processor would go a long way in addressing this issue and would make the GoPro Hero 10 a much better camera straight out of the box. That snappier performance would be huge, and I know I would appreciate it, and I'm sure you would as well. Something else a new processor could help with is it could improve the low light performance of the GoPro. Now, low light performance is a traditional weakness of the GoPro because of the sensor size, and I don't expect the sensor to be upgraded. A new processor would improve the way in which HyperSmooth interacts with the footage to stabilize it. And this would likely improve some of the extreme motion blur issues. And finally, something I would hope to see with a new processor upgrade is the possibility of a Bluetooth microphone. The GoPro Hero 9 built-in microphone is better than a lot of the GoPros of the past. Having the ability to pair a Bluetooth microphone that can be used externally for really good audio quality would be a huge deal. I would appreciate that, and I'm sure a lot of you would as well. And GoPro does have the Bluetooth functionality with the camera already. It wouldn't take a lot to enable a mic to pair to it, so we'll see. Now let's talk about what I do expect to stay the same on the GoPro Hero 10. I do expect the battery size to stay the same. I don't think they're gonna change the battery size. I certainly hope not, because I own a bunch of these batteries and I would like these to remain compatible with the 10. I do also expect the lens cover to remain replaceable. When GoPro released the Hero 8 Black, they did not make the lens cover replaceable. And that was very upsetting to a lot of people, including myself. What if I drop the camera and scratch the screen or damage it? I have to buy a whole new GoPro. With the GoPro Hero 9, GoPro did go back to the replaceable lens. So if you scratch or damage this thing, you can just pop it off, replace it, and you're good to go again. You don't have to buy a whole new camera. Also, GoPro released the Max Lens mod for the Hero 9 Black. And I would expect the 10 to have the same type of connector so that the Max Lens mod can be used with the 10. I would expect a similar design and placement for the battery door and the USB-C port and micro SD card slot. I don't think GoPro's gonna go changing that, especially if they keep the battery size the same as well. So I think these are all gonna stay the same. I expect the flip down feet at the bottom of the camera to remain the same. This was a great little design. You can tuck them away, and I don't think GoPro has a reason to change that. I also expect the secondary front screen, where you can see yourself when you're talking to the camera, to remain the same. That was a great new feature GoPro added, and that was an important competitive feature so that GoPro can compete with the DJ Osmo, which also features the front screen. Finally, let's talk about some features that are rumored to be on the GoPro Hero 10 that I don't think we'll see. First one is 8K video. 8K video has been talked about for a long time on the GoPros, I think going back to at least the 8, and I just do not expect to see it yet. Even if GoPro upgrades that processor, it is not going to be capable of 8K video. Now, 8K video could be coming maybe by the time we get to the 11 or especially the 12. I think that's a possibility. But I don't think 8K video will be coming with the 10, nor do I think 6K video. I think 5K is still going to be the max. But once the 11 is released, and especially the 12, I do think 6K is very likely. And like I said, I think 8K is also possible by the time we get to the 12. Now, some people have talked about the possibility of the Hero 10 Black having an edge-to-edge screen on the back here. I do not expect that, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the GoPro isn't known for their edge-to-edge screen. Part of their design is having this border around there, including where they have the GoPro stamped on the back of the screen. I don't foresee that changing. And also, if GoPro did put an edge-to-edge screen on the camera, that would use more battery life. And if GoPro's not changing the battery design, I don't think they're gonna do edge-to-edge screen, because that would result in worse battery life than the 9. And generally, camera makers do not want to make a product that has worse battery life than the one before it. And finally, I do not expect to see a built-in 3.5mm audio jack. I just don't think GoPro's gonna change up their design that much, and I think they're gonna still stick with the mod modes and some of the external adapters to make that possible. But if GoPro did do the Bluetooth mic, that would mitigate the lack of that 3.5mm adapter too. I would be happy with the Bluetooth option for the mic. And finally, here are the 3 improvements I would most like to see on the GoPro Hero 10 Black. The first one is a new processor. The Hero 10 really needs a new processor. That GP1 is done. In my opinion, that GP1 has served its time. It's been in 3 different models and it needs to be upgraded. A snappier Hero 10 with a GP2 processor would be a huge deal and would greatly improve GoPro's competitiveness. The second improvement and new feature I would like to see is 4K 120 frames per second. This would be significant and would increase the potential of the footage from this camera. And finally, the third feature I would really like to see in the GoPro Hero 10 is a Bluetooth microphone. Being able to pair an external microphone via Bluetooth would be huge, and would offer a lot better sound and more flexibility. It's probably not going to be long until we do know the actual specs that the GoPro Hero 10 will have. If I had to guess, I would say we'll know within about a month's time, probably by mid-September at latest. In the meantime, it's fun to dream and it's fun to speculate on what the GoPro Hero 10 might offer. What type of features or improvements would you like to see on the GoPro Hero 10? Let me know in the comments below.